If you keep doing this simple routine over and over again, that will become a habit. A habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and the emotions that you acquire through frequent repetition. Basically, it means your body is now on autopilot, running a series of programs, and over time, your body becomes the mind. You've done this routine so many times that your body automatically knows how to do certain things better than your brain and conscious mind. You just switch on the autopilot and go unconscious, which means you will wake up the next morning and essentially do the same things all over again. In a very real sense, your body is dragging you into the same predictable future based on what you've been repeatedly doing in the same familiar past. You will think the same thoughts and then make the same choices that lead to the same behaviors that create the same experiences that produce the same emotions. Over time, you've created a set of hardwired neurological networks in the brain, and you have emotionally conditioned your body to live in the past, and that past becomes your future. Because essentially, the same actions you took today are the ones you are going to take tomorrow, and the day after day, and the day after day. Let's face it, if you keep the same routines as yesterday, it makes sense that your tomorrow is going to be a lot like your yesterday. Your future is just rerun of your past. That's because your yesterday is creating your tomorrow. Each of these vertical lines represent the same thought that leads to the same choices that initiate automatic behavior that creates a non experience that produces a familiar feeling or an emotion. If you keep reproducing the same sequence, in time, all those individual steps merge into your automatic program. This is how you lose your free will to a program. The arrow represents a unknown experiencing a dropping, and somewhere between you driving to work and traffic, knowing you are going to be late again, and you trying to stop by the dry cleaners on your way. We could say that your mind and body are in the known, the same predictable future based on what you did in the same familiar past. And in that known, certain future, there is no room for the unknown. In fact, if something new happened, if something unknown were unfolded to your life at that moment, to change the same predictable timeline of your day, you'd probably be annoyed at the destruction of your routine. You'd likely consider it troublesome, problematic, and downright inconvenient. You might say, "Can you come back tomorrow? This is the right time." This is not the right time. A habit is a redundant set of automatic unconscious thoughts, behavior, emotions that develop through repetition. It's when you've done something so many times that your body programmed to become the mind. Over time, your body is tricking you to predict the future based on what you've been doing in the past. Therefore, if you're not in the present moment, you're probably in a program. The fact is, there is no room for the unknown in the predictable life. But being predictable is not how the unknown works. The unknown is unfamiliar, uncertain, but it's also exciting because it occurs in ways you cannot expect or anticipate. So let me ask you, how much room in your routine predictable life do you have for the unknown? By staying in the known, following the same sequence each day of thinking the same thoughts, making the same choices, demonstrating the same programmed habits, recreating the same experiences that stem the same networks of neurons into the same patterns to reaffirm the same familiar feeling called you. You are repeating the same level of mind over and over again. In time, your brain becomes automatically programmed to do any one of those particular sequences and more easily and effortlessly the next time, and then the next time, and so on. As each of these individual steps merge into the complete step, thinking a familiar thought of being experienced with somebody or something at some place in some time will automatically create the anticipation of the feeling of experience. If you can predict the feeling of any experience, you are still in the known. For instance, the thought of having a meeting with the same team of the people you have worked with for years can automatically cause you to call up the emotion of what the future event will feel like. And of course, you're right. But that's because you're the same. By the same means, if you're in an automatic program and you cannot predict the feeling of experience in your life, you will probably hesitate to engage it. You need to look at one more aspect of thinking and feeling to get the full picture of what's happening when you keep living in the same state of being. This thinking feeling loop also produces an immeasurable electromagnetic field that surrounds our physical bodies. Emotions are an energy in motion. All energy is a frequency, and all frequencies carries information based on our own personal thoughts and feelings. We are always sending and receiving information. So if we were recreating the past day after day, thinking the same thoughts and feeling the same emotions, we are broadcasting the same electromagnetic field over and over again, sending out the same energy within the same message. From the perspective of energy and information, this means that the same energy of our past continues to carry the same information, which then keeps creating the same future. Our energy then is essentially equal to our past. The only way we can change our lives is to change our energy, to change the electromagnetic field we are constantly broadcasting. In other words, to change our state of being, we have to change how we think and how we feel. And those familiar emotions are connected to the memory of some past event involving a person or object in a particular place and time. Then your attention and your energy are in the past as well. As consequences, you are siphoning your energy out of the present moment into your past. By the same means, if you start to think about all the people you have to see, the things you have to do, and the places you have to go at the certain times in your routine day, you're siphoning your attention and energy to the predictable known future. All of your energy is now completely correlated with those known experiences in this specific line of time. Your energy is creating more of the same, and your body is going to follow your mind the same events in your same reality. Your energy is being directed out of the present moment and into the past and the future. As a result, you have very little energy left to create an unknown experience in a new timeline. So now, let me ask you this. Could it ever be possible for your body to start following your mind to the unknown? If so, you can see that you would have to change where you put your attention and that would lead to changing your energy, which would require you to change how you think and how you feel when you prepare something new to happen. While it may sound incredible, this is indeed possible. If you're familiar with your work, you know that I'm in love with the concept of mental rehearsal. I'm fascinated by how we can change the brain as well as the body by thought alone. Think about that for a moment. If you focus your attention on specific imagery in your mind and become very present with the sequence of repeated thoughts and a feeling, your brain and body will not know the difference between what is occurring in the outer world and what is happening in your inner world. So, when you are fully engaged and focused, the inner world of imagination will appear as an outer world experience, and your or biological will change accordingly. That means you can make your brain and body look as if physical experience has already happened without having the actual experience. But you put your attention on and mentally reason it over and over again, not only becomes journey from biological perspective, it also determines your future. The before and after brain scans showed that both groups created dramatic number of new neural circuits and a new neurological program in the region of your brain that controls the finger movements, even though one group did so by thought alone. So if you were to start to play after 5 days of mental practice, their behaviors would become easily aligned with your occasional intentions because they primed their brain for the experiencing ahead of time. That's how powerful the mind can be as a trait. Each of these three muscle studies showed how mental rehearsal not only changes the brain, but can also change the body by thought alone. In other words, by practicing the behaviors in the mind and consciously reviewing the activity on a regular basis, the bodies of the subject looked like they have been physically performing the activity, and yet they never did these exercises. Those who added the emotional component of doing the exercise as hard as possible to the intensity of the mental imagery made the experience even more real and the results more pronounced. You can see why when you wake up in the morning and start thinking about the people you have to see, the places you have to go, and the things you have to do in your busy schedule, that's mentally rehearsing, and then you add the intense emotion to it, like a suffering or unhappiness or frustration. Since experiencing enriches the brain and creates an emotion that simulates the body, when you continuously create inward experience that is as real as an outer experience, over time you're going to change your brain and body just like any real experience would. In fact, when you wake up and start thinking about your day, neurologically, biologically, chemically, and even genetically, which I will explain in the next section, it looks as though that it has already happened for you. And in fact, it has. Once you actually start these activities, just as in the experiments above, your body is naturally and automatically going to behave equal to your conscious or unconscious intentions. If you've been doing the same things for years on end, those circuits as well as the rest of your biology are more readily and easily activated. That's because not only do you prime your biology every day with your mind, but you also recreate the same physical behaviors in order to reinforce those experiences in the future in your brain and the body. And it actually becomes easier to go unconscious every day because you keep mentally and physically reinforcing the same habits over again, creating the habit of behaving by habit. We used to think that genes created disease and that we were at the mercy of the DNA. So if many people and some ones in a family die from a heart disease, and you assume that their chances of also developing heart disease would be pretty high. But we now know through the science of an epigenetic that it's not the gene that creates any disease and the environment and programs our genes to create disease, and not just an external environment outside our body. Cigarette smoker and pesticides, for example, but also the internal environment within our body, the environment outside our cells. What do I mean by the environment within our body? As I said previously, emotions are chemical feedback, the end product of experiences we have in our external environment. So, as we react to the situation in our external environment that produces an emotion, the resulting internal chemistry can signal our genes to either turn on, up regulating, or producing an increased expression of the gene, or to the turn off, down regulating, or producing a decreased expression of gene. The gene itself doesn't physically change, the expression of gene changes, and the expression is what matters most, because that is what affects our health and our lives. Thus, even though someone may have the genetic predisposition for a particular disease, for example, if their genes continue to express health instead of expressing the disease, they won't develop the condition and will remain healthy. Think of the body as a finely tuned instrument that produces proteins. Every one of our cells, except the red blood cells, makes the proteins which are responsible for our body's physical structure and the physiological function. For example, muscle cells have specific protein known as actin and myosin, and the skin cells make their proteins and collagen and elastin. Immune cells make antibodies, thyroid cells make thyroxine, and the bone marrow cells make hemoglobin. Some are eye cells make keratin, while our pancreatic cells make enzymes like protease, lipase, and amylase. There is an organ or system in the body that does not rely on produce proteins. They're a vital part of our immune system, digestion, cellular repair, and the bone and muscle structure, and you name it. They're part of it in a very real sense. Then, the expression of proteins and expression of the life are equal to the health of the body. In order to the cell to make a protein, a gene must be expressed. That's the job of genes and to facilitate and make proteins. Okay, my eyes tired.